I was having y'all. It's your boy Rico from StreetScores, and we have quite a bit of updates today. It's almost kind of like a Rico report because I'm going to include a lot of other random information in this video as well. But we're mainly here to talk about the positive injury updates and news that we got for Frankie, Luvu, and Brandon Coleman for this upcoming game against the Giants. But we also received some bad news as well, injury-wise. I'm going to update y'all on all of that. We have the team captains for the upcoming game. I have a lot of random information. Again, this is going to go like somewhat of like a Rico report, the second half of the video. And before we dive into everything, this video is sponsored by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. Make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned to all of the content. Of course, I will be live streaming this upcoming game against the Giants, so make sure you pull up for that. I have so many video ideas. I'm sorry that I ended up so busy yesterday I wasn't even able to do a video, so now I'm backed up and I'm gonna try to get all of these videos out before the Giants game because some of these stats won't even matter before the Giants game. So I'm trying to get like 5-6 videos done before that Giants game happens on Sunday. And I also still need to get to these rookie film sessions, well, just film sessions in general for all of my channel members, those exclusive film sessions for y'all. So make sure y'all stay tuned. Without further ado, let's go and dive into this video, man. Let's get it. Adam. All right, so Dan Quinn, after practice today, went ahead and announced the team captains for this upcoming game against the Giants. It will be wide receiver Noah Brown, tight end John Bates, and safety Quan Martins. Those are your commanders, captains for week 9 versus the Giants. And that makes a lot of sense, especially with this weekly rotation of captains where you can earn it for like the next week by balling out the previous week that Dan Quinn has going on. Those are 3 great choices based on that criteria. And it's not even necessarily who played the best from start to finish, it's who made the biggest statements, of course, outside of Jaden Daniels, I guess, because no matter the criteria, he would be captain every week. But Dan Quinn already said that the purpose of the weekly captain rotation was to give a lot of different people experience with being game day leaders and knowing what it feels like and knowing how to fulfill that role. And if Jaden Daniels was allowed to even be a part of the candidates that could be that, then that would just be one less spot that's available for anybody else every given week. But similar to how they gave like passing game coordinator Brian Johnson the assistant head coach title. He left the Eagles as an offensive coordinator. He basically got fired. We picked him up and gave him the passing game coordinator job. But now he also has the assistant head coach role and title and responsibility and all of that type of stuff, even though he's the passing game coordinator. He's not even like the offensive coordinator like Cliff Kingsbury, but that's for the sole purpose of basically putting them through some sort of like apprenticeship program to groom him for like his future head coaching role that he really wants to eventually grow into. So Dan Quinn's basically doing him a favor of showing him like, this is how head coaching goes. These are some of the things you got to do on a day in, day out basis, weekly basis, monthly basis, all day, every day. This is literally what it's like. This is your schedule. This is your life. This is your routine. And so when Brian Johnson's ready to go off to another team and become a head coach, eventually, maybe, I don't think it's necessarily going to happen next year, but eventually at some point that's what he wants to do. He would know the ins and outs of what it takes to be a head coach, and that'll probably help him even in his interview process with interviewing with other teams. And we're basically doing the same thing with this captain situation where everybody gets a chance to feel like and go through the role of being a game day leader going into a week, as long as you've earned it. We're not just going to hand out captains to make sure everybody on the 53-man roster does it, but anybody that's had a significant enough impact will have a chance to be a captain. And I really appreciate that, because if these guys go to other teams, then you know that's a way for them to boost their resume and boost knowing what it feels like to be a leader. Or even if they just stick around here, now we just have a bunch of leaders throughout the roster, and I'm not mad at that at all. But also, back to my point that you do not have to have the best game to be named a captain, because just have a very impactful moment, because Noah Brown had several drops during the game and had me screaming for trading for a receiver all game, and then he goes and catches the Hail Mary of all Hail Marys. And then you also have John Bates, who blocks his tail off, but I believe he only had 1 catch in that game, but it just so happens that in that 1 catch he truck sticked and ran over a Bears defender, and everybody was hyped. Offense, defense, the entire entire team felt that truck stick. We fed off of that for a while. And then, actually, Quan Martin is kind of a different case because he just had a great game start to finish, unlike the other two guys, or at least impactfully, like, because John Bates just had one catch, and he literally became a captain because of that catch, whereas Noah Brown did not have a good game start to finish. Quan Martin did. He led our team in both total tackles and solo tackles by a pretty big margin, to where even the second place guy, I think it was Bobby Wagner, barely even had half of his solo tackles, like barely just breached more than half of the solo tackles that Quan Martin had. So he had a great game start to finish, but those are your three captains going into the Giants game, and that is more than likely why. Now moving on to the injury updates, the reason why most of y'all are probably here. Commanders head coach Dan Quinn said that Frankie Luvu with his shin injury was sore to begin the week, and that's why he didn't practice Wednesday and Thursday, but looked more like himself as the week progressed, reminding him of the process that they basically went through with Luvu to get him ready for the Carolina Panthers game. So similar to how Luvu was leading up to the Panthers game where he missed a couple of practices, it was basically how it went leading up to this Giants game. So we should already off of that, I was like, okay, we're good. We shouldn't worry. This is just what Frankie Luvu does. He may miss some practices due to being sore or hurt, but he's going to play, and he's going to play very well the upcoming Sunday regardless. And then Dan Quinn confirmed that Frankie Luvu will play against the Giants. Like, just straight up said it, Frankie Luvu will play. So we can put our mind at ease there. That's great news on that injury side, which I assume was the case anyway, though. And even though this isn't some like expert doctor's opinion, but after the Hail Mary, Frankie Luvu was with Bobby Wagner jumping up and down and hugging all over Jaden Daniels after they kind of interrupted his post-game interview directly on the field. Luvu looks perfectly fine to me there in that clip. But like Dan Quinn said, he must have been sore, but he should be good to go now. I'm pretty sure the soreness didn't just magically disappear today out of nowhere. I'm just confident that he plans on playing through the pain anyway, and he just wants to make sure that he at least practice once before the Giants game so that he doesn't get rusty, and so that they could go through some of the strategic things and rehearsals in practice today. So he wanted to make sure he at least practiced today, even though he is sore. And again, pretty sure he plans to just play through whatever pain he has. I'm pretty sure that pain is not gone away. And then Dan Quinn also gave us the update that Brandon Coleman will be good to go against the Giants as well, and that is fantastic news. That is our rookie starting left tackle right there, our franchise left tackle, potentially what it looks like, man. And he suffered a concussion versus the Panthers, and he had to miss the Bear games because of it. So now he's back versus the Giants after having nearly 2 weeks to recover to clear his concussion protocol and all of that. So he should be good to go. But remember, the Commanders, when healthy enough to do so, have been running a 2 left tackle system offensively. We've been out there with 3 tackles, technically 4, because Trent Scott even comes in as like a 3rd tackle on the field sometimes. But we just got 1 tackle back as part of the 2 starting, I guess you could say, left tackle system that we run every game, again, when we're healthy to do so. But what about the other one? And then that's where the bad news comes in, because Dan Quinn also gave us the update on that as well. He said this one, though, is not good news, and he confirmed that Cornelius Lucas will not play against the Giants. We already know that already. We didn't even have to wait till like Saturday or Sunday to find out. He knew Friday that he's not going to play, so that injury doesn't even sound like it's going too well. Like, I'm not even exactly sure if he'll be ready to play against the Steelers the following week with the way that this injury sounded, but we'll see. Of course, I'll keep y'all updated on that. But my immediate thought was, how will Brandon Coleman not only fare against that group of Giants edge rushers, including Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns, and even my Georgia dog Azeez Ojulari, but also this will potentially be his first game of being a full-time starter in his young rookie career. Because even though the last couple of games he's played in, he technically started, but he still split snaps with Cornelius Lucas in every game he's played in so far at the NFL level. So this will be his first game ever having to play in an NFL regular season game without splitting snaps with Lucas. And then on top of that, he's returning from concussion protocol. He missed the Bears game, so there could even be like a little bit of rust there because of that. So this will be very interesting to watch. Y'all already know I'm going to have my binoculars on Brandon Coleman throughout my entire live stream of the game on Sunday. All 4 quarters, we're watching Brandon Coleman just to see, first of all, strategically what they do there. Do they just allow him to split snaps with Trent Scott? Or because Trent Scott just isn't as good as Cornelius Lucas, this is the first game you're going to ask Brandon Coleman to go out there and play an entire game on his own. I'm really curious about this. Are they going to sign a random free agent off the street? Who knows? But right now, I'm just going to assume that Brandon Coleman goes out there and starts his first full game. We'll see how that goes. Am I bad for consistently bringing up Kayvon Thibodeau's name when I'm talking about the Giants edge rushers that we've had to face throughout this week? Because he's on injured reserve, just to let y'all know. He will not be playing against us. He's still on the injured reserve. So Brandon Coleman only has to worry about Brian Burns and my Georgia dog Azeez Ojulari, but that's still a tough ask with the conditions that I've already set for y'all. And before we move on to the second half of this video, y'all already know I gotta tell y'all that this show is provided by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino, and if you're looking for a new sportsbook, it should be BetUS for sure. First of all, they have the fastest payouts in the industry, and I know y'all want y'all money fast, and right now BetUS is offering you a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit and 125% sign-up bonus on your next 2 deposits for up to $2,000 with code YouTube150. That's YOUTUBE150. They also have a fast and easy deposit and withdrawal process, so it's like, why not? Now let's take a look at some bets that we can get into directly from their website. How about we revisit MVP? Because Jaden Daniels got hurt in that Panthers game. He only played like the first offensive drive. And so after that, you know, he was starting to slip in MVP races. A lot of people, most people even thought he wouldn't even be able to play against the Bears. So his odds started to slip a little bit. But then not only did he play against the Bears, but he played very well against the Bears. So now he's back at plus 1,000 odds. And the only people ahead of him right now in the MVP race, according to the BetUS odds right now, are Jared Goff, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Pat Mahomes. That's it. Jaden Daniels is ahead of everybody else. That's including Joe Burrow, CJ Stroud, Jalen Hurts, Brock Purdy, all of these other guys. Kyler Murray, Kirk Cousins, anybody else that you can name. So do you feel like there's a good chance that Jaden Daniels could potentially win MVP, especially if he can stay healthy? I wouldn't put it past him. You have a lot of media members, even including like Dominique Foxworth, saying that right now to him, Jaden Daniels is the MVP of the NFL. But it's been forever since a rookie has won MVP, so the odds are stacked against them. But right now, BetUS likes those odds at plus 1,000 odds. Those are pretty favorable odds. Right now, he's top 5 out of all NFL players, and of course, it's mostly like a quarterback award, but it's still, you know, some other guys up there. You know, you got Justin Jefferson at plus 12,500 odds. But if you wanted to put $100 down on these plus 1,000 odds, you could potentially win $1,000. You put $100 down on it today, and by the end of the season, Jaden Daniels wins MVP. If you truly believe that he could do that, you could end up winning $1,000 for that. Or if you wanted to play it safe, you just wanted to put a quick 10 on it, like a quick 10 that you would just forget about, and then Jaden Daniels ends up winning MVP of the season, you would end up winning $100 from that. And again, right now, BetUS is offering you a 150% sign-up bonus on your first deposit and a 125% sign-up bonus on your next 2 deposits for up to $2,000 with code YOUTUBE150. And as always, man, I'ma scream at y'all to please make sure y'all gamble responsibly. No matter what you do, please gamble responsibly. Now let's get back to the second half of this video, man. Let's talk some football. All right, so I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that this is a negative for the Commanders, because I don't wish injuries on anybody, even if it's another team's player or an opponent, whatever, even if it's a division rival. But technically bad news for the Commanders, good news for the Giants. Included in the bad news that I was talking about before the intro of the video is that running back Tyrone Tracy continues to progress in concussion protocol. He's practicing Friday, scheduled to meet with an independent neurologist for clearance later today, barring a setback. Coach Brian Daboll said Tracy earned his playing time, will continue to play if he performs well. And this is just crazy to me, because when Austin Eckler had to go through concussion protocol, he had to miss a game, came back 2 weeks later. Same thing with Brandon Coleman. Got a concussion versus the Panthers, had to miss the Bears game, and now he's returning for the Giants game. Somehow, rookie phenom, because Tyrone Tracy, I'm not going to lie, has been balling for the Giants. He's been balling. Somehow, this guy is going to, after suffering a concussion injury, I believe that was Monday night they played too, not even a full week. I think 6 days later, he's trying to play after suffering a concussion. That is insane. I don't know if the Giants are forcing it. I mean, apparently, again, he's going to talk to an independent neurologist, but right now, I mean, I just can't see how you can go through concussion protocol within just 6 days, but it is what it is. I'll keep y'all updated on that. I'm working on a Giants preview video where I'm going to break down like their weaknesses and strengths, their weaknesses that we can exploit, the strengths that we need to worry about. Tyrone Tracy is definitely one of their strengths, so be on the lookout. I will give y'all an official update on that either, I guess, tomorrow, maybe Saturday. We'll see. Also, moving on, Dan Quinn talked about Jaden Daniels and how he had to basically gut through his rib injury in the win over Chicago. And he said in his breakdown, he was asked, and this was all the way back on Monday, how Jaden Daniels managed his injury and the plan for him this week in practice. Dan Quinn said, quote, "Yeah, I really thought he had a good performance, and he's sore today, as in Monday, much like a lot of the guys after the game. That's pretty typical for a Monday, so I will have a better update as you're going to go, but I was really pumped to see him do what he was able to do." And obviously, the deep ball to wide receiver Terry McLaurin, it was a big one, that deep ball to throw it. So we pushed it Friday hard, and we knew that he was going to be part of the case, but he's sore like a lot of his teammates are today, unquote. So he basically just downplayed the fact that Jaden Daniels is sore like everybody else, even though his soreness is clearly for a different reason. But either way, sounds like he's good to go. Jaden Daniels will be a starting quarterback against the Giants. We are fine there. Also, shouts out to All-Pro Revo Jeremy Reeves. The Washington Commanders nominated him for the 2024 Salute to Service Award. I hope he wins it, man. I really, really do. So shouts out to the Commanders for that one. Also, random news, the Packers signed 2021 first-round linebacker Jamin Davis to their practice squad. Not the active 53-man roster, but Jamin Davis landed somewhere on a pretty good, really talented team, so I'm happy for him. And so now he's officially on their practice squad. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's ever going to get into a game for them in 2024, but at least he landed somewhere. Of course, he was recently released by the Commanders, and to make room for Jamin Davis, they cut their linebacker Chris Russell, so they were pretty excited to see that Jamin Davis was available. I guess the fact that they were even willing to cut somebody that they already had on their practice squad. But now I'm also wondering, will they keep him at defensive end / edge rusher like he's been this season, or will they put him back to off-ball linebacker like he was his first 3 seasons? I'm really curious as to see how they're going to handle that situation. But of course, most importantly, congratulations to Jamin Davis. I'm happy that he went to a good team. I'm rooting for him. There's a few Georgia Bulldogs over there on them Packers, so you know what I'm saying, you're going to a good place. Now moving on, you also have some other roster moves that doesn't necessarily have anything to do with us, but it's still pretty interesting because the Jets had to sign Riley Patterson to their practice squad. Remember the kicker that couldn't make a single kick for us all off season? Riley Patterson, and also on top of that, Spencer Schrader as well. They signed both of those kickers because Greg Zuerlein is now dealing with the knee injury, and he hasn't necessarily been that good either. But then again, shouts out to Greg Zuerlein, because if he didn't make that game-winning kick against us last year when we played the Jets, we more than likely would not have Jaden Daniels. Actually, I'm pretty sure, like 99% sure, we would not have Jaden Daniels right now. So shouts out to Greg Zuerlein. Get well soon. You know what I'm saying? We're rooting for you over here for the Commanders, man, because we wouldn't have Jaden Daniels without you. But either way, that's really interesting that the Jets had to go and sign Riley Patterson. It's even crazier too because we had a joint practice with the Jets just this past offseason, and we had Austin Seibert on one side. They had Austin Seibert on their side in that joint practice, and we had Riley Patterson on ours. So we basically made a trade, Riley Patterson for Austin Seibert. Have you seen the Austin Seibert has missed 2 kicks so far this season total? That's including PATs, all kicks and everything. One was blocking, and the other one he just straight up missed against the Bears. And then you have Riley Patterson, who was terrible. So I don't know how the Jets had Austin Seibert in their grasp and then didn't keep him or sign him long term, but thank goodness. Shouts out to the Jets for that one. That just goes to show what Adam Peters is doing compared to what all these other teams are doing. Chess, not checkers. Somehow we walked into that joints practice with the Jets with Riley Patterson. They had Austin Seibert. We made the switch. I just don't understand how that happened. Also, shouts out to Wale, because I couldn't agree more, and I felt like I needed to include this in this video. But he said, he tweeted back on October 28th, if you've never been deep in the mock draft trenches by week 8, y'all wouldn't get it. And I completely agree, man. Completely agree. Shouts out to my boys at the Tan Time Podcast. They said, this is so real. Haven't even thought about checking Tankathon at all this year. It feels amazing. I completely agree 100%. It is crazy that we're to this point where we're in early November and I'm not even doing mock drafts yet. That is wild. That is insane. I may just need to do one just for the fun of it, because typically by now we're doing them, and maybe there's some people out there that want them. So let me know in the comment section if you want a mock draft. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know if about everything discussed in the video. Please still farm that like button, still farm the subscription button, still farm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Make sure you stay tuned to all of the content. I really appreciate y'all for supporting everything. every video. I really appreciate y'all being patient with me as well. I guess y'all probably don't know how all out I go. My entire family goes for Halloween, where we set up like a home hunt. I mean, I literally made like a 8-foot like scary clown guy, like PVC pipe, and I had to cut it up myself and everything. Like I was super busy yesterday setting that all up and then having to take it all back down and things like that. So I apologize I wasn't able to get a video out to y'all yesterday, so I'm trying to make up for it for over these next couple of days before I have to live stream for this Giants game, which I'm really excited about. Let's go 7-2. And also, I haven't forgotten about y'all channel members. I'm trying to get some film sessions done for y'all before that game as well. I'm trying to get at least 2 done. So I'm going to be really busy these next couple of days working on content. I really appreciate y'all being patient, but of course let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video, the injury updates that I gave you, Jamin Davis landing on the Packers. How do you feel about us basically switching kickers with the Jets and ending up with the way better kicker between the two? Let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video, man. I really appreciate y'all. Definitely make sure you leave a like on the way out, and of course, man, remember that this video is sponsored by BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. And please, if you don't remember nothing else, please make sure you gamble responsibly. I'm gonna catch y'all later. Appreciate y'all. I'm out.